and these vaccines are free of charge.
Now tonight we tell you about a humanitarian organization called Love Without Reason that has made it its business to restore smiles and beauty to patients with craniofacial deformities globally, in turn rescuing them from human trafficking. Listen in.
They say beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, but it is a story rigged with pain for those born with facial deformities in the form of cleft lips and palates, for towards them, the beholder might have well become the killer.
Children born with craniofacial birth defects are not allowed to live. Many are killed at childbirth. If they are lucky to be born alive, they are thrown into the garbage. Some are thrown on railway tracks.
The beholder may have also become the forsaker, discriminator, and abuser.
Oh, she is now 3 years, 2 months. But I used to struggle because always, if I always walk through the road, even with my neighbors, they always ask me, what about this? What was this? They always ask me.
It is a horrible life. Most people are considered to be a curse. They're ostracized, they're humiliated, isolated. They're not allowed to go to schools. They're not allowed to get jobs. Many do not get married, and they end up lonely.
The trauma hitting hardest for those born with the craniofacial anomalies in developing countries, where poverty and cultural beliefs make it even more difficult to fit in any niche of society, from childhood, school, work, and even marriage.
At school, other kids used to laugh at me to an extent that I decided not to go to school. And I went back home and I told my father that I no longer want to go back to school because other kids are laughing at me. And my father went to the school to see the headmaster so that he can beat or he can discipline other kids not to laugh at me. But nothing happened till this day. They were just laughing at me.
So as these things happen, what happens is the child is uneducated, does not have a job, cannot get married, okay, and a burden to the family. And what happens is the family sells these children. And these children are sold for bonded labor. Sometimes they're sold for beggary. They go out on the streets and beg for food. Many of these children are sold for their organs. You know, there's an organ trafficking, organ harvesting industry that is going on. So what happens is they sell them for their hearts, their kidney, their lungs, you know, different parts of their body, because their face is messed up, but the rest of the body is fine. They sell them for their organs.
As if that is not enough torment, the patients stand to lose more than just standard beauty, as Dr. Satish, a craniofacial surgeon, explains.
Palate should be corrected at the right age because there is a more chances of babies developing a defective speech. Correcting the defective speech is much so difficult, but I can say it is almost 50 to 60%.
A child born with a cleft palate is a major problem in terms of feeding. Okay, you know, when a child is fed milk, either breastfed or bottle fed, the milk sometimes will go through the other channels, could enter the lungs, it could cause pneumonia, it would come back through the nose, cause a lot of discomfort. These children will not be able to feed. So a lot of them end up malnourished. Okay, and because they end up malnourished, you know, eventually some of them will die. So that is a significant problem. it's a vicious cycle because they can't feed, they are malnourished, and because they are malnourished, they don't have enough weight, and because they don't have enough weight, they can't get the surgery done, and the cycle continues, you see.
But what in the world could be the cause of the craniofacial anomalies that have subjected so many people in the world to nothing but pain and stigma?
There are some other doctors that would say that these children are born because of herbal medication given or the wrong medication given. It could possibly be different things like that. I've even had doctors say that it could be because of maybe the chemicals mixed in the waters. So there are so many factors why these children are born like that. But basically in the womb, the face needs to be formed. It comes from two different angles and it forms. And the non-closure of the face at the end of that term is what causes the cleft.
Restoration of beauty, smiles, speech and confidence, among other things, to the patient is almost a lost cause, as corrective surgeries, which go up to 100 for complete restoration, could be unaffordable for people living below the poverty mark, and lack of well-trained craniofacial surgeons that could easily exacerbate the situation.
When the palate is fixed, if it is not done by a good surgeon, a reputed surgeon, somebody who understands what he or she is doing, then the child may never speak. So it has to be done very carefully. Palate surgeries are not easy. Most people don't do palate surgeries because, first of all, there is no market value for that, if you know what I mean. You know, you have a child with a cleft lip and a cleft palate, you take before pictures, after pictures. There is, there's some publicity that can be done with it. But with the palate, nobody does that, so it becomes a major problem. A lot of children have cleft lips repaired, but not their palates. One is there are not enough qualified, really good surgeons who do the cleft palate thing. Second is most organizations don't care.
However, amid all that struggle to look wanted, to be able to speak, smile or generally fit in society, beauty might have well found itself in the corridors of Love Without Reason, an organization which is neck-bent on making the world cleft-free through fixing the facial anomalies.
Whether they are male or female, it doesn't matter. Whether they are rich or poor, it doesn't matter. Whether it is, how old they are, it does not matter. We just know that these people need the surgery and we are ready to do it for them.
The organization has so far conducted 400 plus cost-free surgeries in over 50 camps in India and Africa, and for those that have been fixed, the smile is worth showing.
Love Without Reason. I just want to thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for helping our son.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Love Without Reason, for giving new life like others.
It's still a journey of bruises and burns for patients who have not yet met the restorer of their faces. But hope still abounds, as Love Without Reason will not stop until all faces are fixed.